It has now been 8 days since the lockdown began, and for poets and historians like Kalisa Rugano, stuck in his home here in Kigali City, this is actually not completely alien to him because his studies have included incidents like this in Rwanda's far past, sometimes even more serious. They had sayings that talked of times so bad people were no longer described by anything else other than the afflictions they were suffering from. Diseases would render people so weak they would not be able to get up. Skin ailments were sometimes so bad they would have to peel off dead portions of skin. Things would get really bad. In fact, when you consider that people did survive and go on, you realize that it required great thinkers to find a way to deal with those situations for Rwanda to survive. Some pestilences would kill cows en masse, while others would take human life. During those times, the most needy were provided with food supplies like sorghum, and sayings showed how important it was to ensure that those supplies lasted. This was especially true during droughts, because when famine would strike, that in itself was very troublesome. Other older Kigali residents who we spoke to, not necessarily historians and poets by profession like Kalisa, told us that measures like quarantine existed even then to deal with pestilences, showing that it was not unusual owing to the fact that this is common knowledge that has been passed down through the generations. That is why for people with knowledge of Rwanda's history, they are not at all alarmed by the current efforts to fight the coronavirus, noting that containment has always been a first line of defense against such threats and that people were always assisted to make it through. Kalisa even composed a prayer for Rwanda during this present difficult time, basing on what he learned of the country's distant past. Almighty God, everlasting, bless Rwanda so that the country may continue to be fruitful, giving it many more beautiful children and protect them from early graves. The other day I listened to the presidential address and I found it to be quite comforting. During times like this, the entire world is afraid, and looking to it only produces more fear. Telling people to stay locked up in their homes requires a leader who truly knows what he is doing, and a speech like that is really reassuring to those you lead. Kalisa and other historians say it is important that people learn from the past and understand the importance of heeding directives from the country's leadership if lives are to be spared from a global pandemic that has now infected more than 700,000 people and killed close to 34,000.